happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king.
How is this abusive?
Scott, have you ever gotten an email from someone that said, you better do this or else you're going to resign?
Yeah, it's called having a boss in the private sector.
From someone who's not your boss?
The White House is every federal worker's boss. That's number one.
I have found some leakers. We are continuing to get more. They will be fired. There will be consequences. And remember, when they leak information to the press in order to blow an op, they are putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy.
Our country is doing very well, and he was just thinking about the company that was shooed away and canceled by the Biden administration who wanted to build the Keystone XL pipeline. He is inviting them back. We want the Keystone XL pipeline built.
Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows. And that feels worse than bad.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value.
Apple teams and facilities will expand all over our country in Arizona, California, Iowa, Nevada, North Carolina, Michigan, Oregon, Texas, and Washington. With President Trump in charge, America is open for business.
Okay, Jack Posobiec here. We are back live, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. Today is February 25th, 2025, Anno Domini. A huge bang-up of a press conference there held by Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, dropping the hammer on the WHCA, the organization that, at least heretofore, controlled, I guess we'll say past tense, the White House Correspondents Association. Brian Glenn is there at the White House. Brian, quite the dust-up just now.
Yeah, I was really kind of shocked that they led with that announcement and coming out and basically making the WHCA powerless when it comes to who is in the briefing room, who is on Air Force One, who gets to go into the Oval Office. And then if you look back, what kind of prompted all of this was a little bit of the buzz that Associated Press got for essentially, suing Caroline Leavitt and others in the Trump administration for not having access to the briefing room. And Jack, I've often said it's a privilege to be in that briefing room. It's not a right. You have every right to stand outside those 20-foot gates over there and go live on your podcast or wherever it is, but you don't have a right to come into the briefing room here. And boy, Caroline Leavitt led with the lead story today in terms of how this briefing room will be reset to represent a little bit more of a reflection of what this country is going through. Now I'll throw out two stats here for you right now. 76%, Jack. 76% of people polled support what's going on right now in DOGE, support of getting rid of the fraud, the corruption, all of the abuse in our government. And 85% of the media coverage for President Trump this last election cycle was negative. So let me tell you something. That room needs to be reshuffled because obviously they are not reflecting the views and the opinions of the American people.
Well, Brian, we're seeing it as well. People are talking about, President Trump is purging the military. President Trump and Elon and DOGE are purging the government of various positions, various leaders, various mid-level management. But at the same time, the media is experiencing a massive purge as well. We just saw Rachel Maddow there talking about Joy Reid and saying, they're firing so many people, firing all of our non-white hosts, to which, by the way, I've got to say, Rachel, I have a thought for you. If you're really worried about too many white people on air at MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, then why don't you just quit? Why don't you just leave? Just asking. We're just asking questions here, folks. That's what we do in Human Events Daily every day. We'll be right back. Jack Posobiec, Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice, Brian Glenn there at the White House.
what America First truly means.
Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
Hey, Jack Posobiec, we are back here. Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice, also the third hour of the Charlie Kirk program on the Salem Radio Network. We have got Brian Glenn live at the White House. Brian, wanted to go back to you. We're talking about this dust-up of a press conference that was just held. Caroline Leavitt really cracking down on the WHCA's power to say, look, you guys have a right to be in the building. That's the First Amendment. But you don't have a right to dictate to the administration how it is about all the access that you get. And certainly, by the way, the Biden administration denied all sorts of access. No had a problem with that.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I had a gentleman that was next to me before this press conference started said, hey, he applied in the last administration and was denied. As a matter of fact, 400 of media people who had card access holder, I guess you say, were dismissed. So the last administration really did lock down the amount of access reporters, media outlets had in the briefing room. And quite honestly, there wasn't much coming out of there anyway. Even if they were in there, we didn't get a whole lot of information. But by her coming out today and making this major announcement that the WHCA would be powerless essentially in placing people in that room, and there she even said some of those that are sitting in chairs right now where you may not be sitting when we get ready to reshuffle the deck here. And I do think that's I think it's a good thing, because I think far too long they have controlled the amount of information and who it goes to and who has the opportunity to ask the president a question, not only in the briefing room, but on Air Force One, a very coveted spot there. They have dedicated seats on that plane, and guess what? WHA has a hand in that as well. Who goes in the Oval Office? They have a hand in that as well. So the Trump team, the press team here in this administration is shuffling things up. And what they say, Jack, they're putting it back to the people.
Putting it back to the people. That's exactly right. So Caroline also dropping a number of other topics in terms of news. I mean, the press pool change, I think, is really the biggest one. But pushing back on DOGE, talking about Air Force One, talking about leaks, talking about the border wall, caravans, talking about this huge Apple deal that's coming in. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, she really was going through a bunch of questions there, as well as even Dan Bongino kind of talking about how, look, he's an outsider, and that's why we're bringing him in. Brian, when it comes to this question of Ukraine, Russia, the mineral deal, did you get a sense from Press Secretary Leavitt that it seemed as though the deal was going to be going through or not?
She seemed optimistic on that. That is something that I need to probably dig a little deeper in. I hate to comment too much on it from what I saw today, but I know that based upon what President Trump spoke yesterday when he had President Macron there in the East Room, and that came up, and of course it came up in the Oval Office. I feel like that's a deal that President Trump is ready to make. But based upon today, I don't feel secure talking, maybe basing it off of that. But it does seem positive that President Trump is trying to make that deal happen. And one of the things that a reporter asked in that room, we talked briefly in the break, was what does Russia get out of this? What concession does Russia give up in this deal? I know Ukraine, mineral rights, but then what does Russia give up? And so I guess we'll have to kind of stick around to find out what that will be. But, President Trump is the writer of the art of the deal. And I'm sure he's going to make sure each country has some type of concession to end this war and to finally get peace in that region, which is hugely popular amongst the American people. We look at DOGE for a second. If I can talk on DOGE, there will be a big hearing tomorrow in D.C. at the Capitol. They've changed locations for this hearing. It was going to be in a subcommittee hearing room in the Rayburn building. That has moved to the Capitol now in a hearing building due to the size and the interest in this. This was going to focus on USAID. Now, this falls along all of the narrative that we heard today. It's amazing how much pushback the media does on DOGE, how they open an email, who's going to respond and what do they have to do. This is corporate America, Jack. You have worked for corporate corporate America, so have I. We've always asked to send, type of recap email. This is nothing extensive, but they're asking these employees to do, and they're trying to see if they even exist in the first place. But as we move forward, especially tomorrow, DOGE will once again dominate the headlines as they're going to look into all the fraud and abuse in USAID. And I'm sure Carolyn, if she has another press conference this week, will highlight those what they found in that hearing as well.
All right, Brian Glenn there at the White House, chief White House correspondent for Real America's Voice. Thanks so much, Brian.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, folks. I want you to imagine, real quick, step back for a second. I want you to imagine what would happen if DOGE actually opened up the doors to Fort Knox and there was not the reported 147 million troy ounces of gold inside. What would you do? What would happen? I mean, it'd be good for ratings to go viral, but think about the economic fallout. Even if it is mostly there, the consequences for the market would be astronomical. Given the waste, fraud, and abuse that DOGE has found so far, does the idea sound far-fetched to you? Well, here's something else. You may not know this, but JP Morgan Chase just moved $4 billion worth of gold to New York, and they are not guessing. They know what's coming. The United States relies heavily on Canada and Mexico for gold and silver, and once these tariffs kick in, the price of gold will hit new records. This is your moment. If you have money in stocks, a 401k, or an IRA, now is the time to move into gold and silver before the rush. I partnered with Allegiance Gold because they share my values, honesty, transparency, and real patriotism. They're here to make sure you make the best decision for your future. Go to protectwithposo.com now and get up to 3 years of free storage when you open your gold IRA. Don't wait. Gold will never be this cheap again. Go to protectwithposo.com. That's protectwithposo.com. And so I wanted to reflect on this a little bit to understand what it is exactly that we're doing, that we're coming forward in with President Trump's administration, as well as with energy, because we know this is indelibly linked. So I wanted to bring on here Daniel Turner, the executive director of Power of the Future. We've got him for us here at Human Events Daily. Daniel, how are you?
Oh, Jack, it's great to see you. Thanks for having me on the program.
Well, look, we just saw President Trump's tweet last night at Keystone XL Pipeline, something that Biden shot down in his first days in office. Of course, I remember his administration. We played the clip of Jen Psaki from yesterday. They can all go get green jobs, and Biden saying that the pipeline workers and the oil workers, well, they can learn the program. They can learn the program. And now we've got President Trump saying, how about we just go ahead and have the pipeline workers build pipelines? Only about a minute till the break, but I'll hold you over, Daniel. How big of a deal is this?
Well, I think it shows that there's no longer going to be this war on infrastructure projects for purely partisan reasons. I have a lot of concerns still that I'll talk about after the break, but it's nice to know that the president's making it clear to the industry, look, I'm not going to come after you because I have green donors or because Tom Steyer or John Kerry feel otherwise. And I think the private sector needs that boost of confidence before they start investing seriously in America.
Well, it's as simple as that. It really is as simple as that. And hopefully, by the way, it could do something to help mend these torn relations between the United States and Canada. Of course, we've been going through a little bit of a row here with President Trump and Governor Trudeau, as President Trump likes to call him. And of course, I do him apparently on the phone the other day there. But look, when it really comes down to it, and I've said this over and over, I'm not personally interested in the United States bringing in Canada as a state. But when it comes to the economic resources that Canada has available for us, when it comes to the oil and natural gas, it just makes sense. That's the reason that we want to build the pipeline. It's as simple as that. And folks, guess what? It's coming anyway, except right now it's coming in trucks and trains. And who funds all that, or who makes money off of all that? Oh, yeah, Warren Buffett. We'll be right back. Jack Posobiec here on the Salem Radio Network with Hour 3 of Charlie Kirk and Real America's Voice.
back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. So good to have you along for the ride. Just into our newsroom, more than 20 civil service employees who are participating in DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, have just resigned, saying that they are refusing to use their technical expertise to, quote, dismantle critical public services. This, again, just into our newsroom. In the meantime, there still appears to be some uncertainty among the rank and file in the federal government about Elon Musk and DOGE's efforts to force federal workers to prove their efficiency or face losing their jobs. Monday, President Trump tried to help bring some clarity to the issue after several cabinet members told their staffs to ignore Musk's request.
Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department, where they have very confidential things, or the FBI, where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they? And we said, if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
And that holds, that stands.
And you're not getting paid anymore, too. So, you know, we're doing a real job. And
despite President Trump's support for Musk's recent email, the agency that oversees federal workers is telling workers not to respond to the communication from Musk. And adding insult to injury on Monday, a federal judge also blocked DOGE from accessing sensitive information at the Department of Education and the Office of Personnel Management. Meantime, many federal workers remain unsure about their future employment, and that uncertainty is reportedly spilling over to private companies that do business with the government. Some are laying off employees and even deferring payments to vendors in anticipation of potential impacts from DOGE. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents are continuing operations to round up illegal aliens who are also dangerous criminals. Meantime, several states are considering legislation to help in that effort. The Arizona State Legislature, for instance, set to vote on a bill that would offer bounties for the arrest of illegals.
today, you know, they talk about influencers. These are influencers. And they're friends of mine. Jack Posobiec. Where's Jack? Jack, he's done a great job.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back here, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. Of course, we are also live on RAV as well as the Salem Radio Network with Hour 3 of Charlie Kirk. Folks, I got to ask you a question, though. Did you know that scammers can actually steal your home right out from under you? The FBI calls it house stealing, and it's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee, and file it with your local recorder's office. And just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. And then they can take out loans using your equity as collateral or even sell the property behind your back. And you won't even know what's happening until you start getting collection or worse, foreclosure notices. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you checked your home title? Well, if you're like me, the answer is, probably never. That's exactly what scammers are counting on. And that's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and equity safe. Here's what you get. Immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property. Urgent alerts if there are any changes. And if fraud should happen in their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. Here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a villain and access to your personal title expert. That's a $250 value just for signing up. Go to HometitleLock.com and use my promo code POSO250, POSO250, or click the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code POSO250 to get the protection and peace of mind you deserve. I want to go back now to Daniel Turner with Power of the Future. Daniel, we're talking about how President Trump had put out that message regarding the Keystone XL pipeline, but also there's been a number of moves, and I've seen this as well, to allow for offshore drilling, to clean up or fix up those regulations. Also moves to export U.S. LNG overseas. Are we seeing moves on the energy front from the Trump administration that aren't getting picked up as much in the media?
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot to be optimistic about. Remember, this is an industry that takes a little while to come online. These are massive projects and they require capital, they require personnel. I mean, just think of the Keystone Project, 1,200 miles of pipeline. Thinking of the acquisition of 1,200 miles of pipeline, right? That doesn't happen overnight. And here's where I have a deep concern about projects like this going forward, and it really is a condemnation of what Joe Biden did. He set a terrible and ugly and dangerous precedent because if you are in this space, are you going to reopen this pipeline? Are you going to do any infrastructure project that requires more than 4 years if the next president can just cancel it? If they restarted Keystone or any project of that size right now, it would be a year and a half before you actually started construction. That's just how long acquisition and movement of personnel requires. Are you going to take that multi-billion-dollar risk? They've stolen elections before. What if Gavin Newsom becomes president in 2028? Your job as the private company is to protect your shareholders and to build a product, and you can't run that risk. And that's really why Joe Biden didn't cancel the pipeline. He put the full faith and credit of the American government in question. And there is no private company, from the Alaska pipeline to the pipeline President Trump wants to build from Pennsylvania to New England. Every question now, every project has a huge question mark above it. What if we don't finish this before the next election? Is that a risk? And Joe Biden cannot be condemned enough for that variable he introduced in the marketplace. I love the fact that President Trump is supporting the industry. We need infrastructure projects, but I cannot blame private companies if they don't trust the American government anymore, and that's what Joe Biden did to us.
And that's a huge piece of it, too. So you've got these companies out there saying, wait, why invest in the United States? Why build this infrastructure if all of a sudden the liberals and the greenies get in there, or liberals beholden to the greenies, same idea, are going to come in and start canceling anything? Now, that makes sense. Are we starting to see the market then shift, looking at President Trump and looking at the new administration? 1 minute.
Yes, like I said, there's a lot to be optimistic about. It's going to take a couple more months, right? These projects take a little while to come online, but just knowing that you're not going to have these short-term regulatory problems at the EPA, these fake environmental groups seem to be losing their money. You know, I'd love to talk, another time, Jack, is climate change even real? It seems like all the climate groups are just funded through the EPA. So I don't even think the climate groups exist because their money is drying up. So there's a lot to be optimistic
So perfect.
about.
Dana Turner, where can people go to follow you, brother?
PowerTheFuture.com.
Make sure you're there checking it out, folks. PowerTheFuture.com. Restoring America's energy dominance. Energy dominance. That's exactly what we want. We'll be right back here, Human Events Daily, as we continue.
Terrence Bates here with your Real America's Voice News Break. Thanks so much for being here with us. The U.S. House is expected to vote on its version of a budget framework as soon as today, despite some Republican holdouts and concerns over Medicaid funding. Just this morning, the House Republican Conference met to get a sense of how many votes are in hand, as Speaker Mike Johnson can only afford a few defections in order to get the measure over the finish line and into the reconciliation process. In the meantime, Senate Republicans tell me they're keeping a close eye on what's happening in the House as the two sides dig in for the process of hammering out a budget that both bodies can agree on.
What we also want to do is make certain that we are cutting the fat out. Terrence, everyone should agree that it is wrong to waste the taxpayer money, and everybody should agree that it is not government money. It is the U.S. taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. They want us to find every wasted penny, and they want us to cut out the waste. They want us to end the fraud. They want to make certain that we are spending wisely so that we secure our nation's sovereignty for our children and grandchildren and future generations.
Also happening in Washington, President Trump saying he expects a ceasefire or a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine to be signed within the next couple of weeks. While his team has been negotiating with the Russians, the commander-in-chief plans to host Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House in the coming weeks to make everything official.
We're working on deals right now, transactions right now, and in particular, the big one is to get the war stopped, whether it's ceasefire or direct to an agreement. I'd like to go directly to an agreement, but ceasefire will always happen a little bit quicker.
And after meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron at the White House on Monday, President Trump also affirming that Europe is becoming increasingly willing to foot the bill for the cost of the war in Ukraine. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'm Terrence Bates.
And Jack, where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
All right, Jack Posobiec back live here, Human Events Daily. By the way, we're seeing breaking news that came in just over the break. I want to welcome in as well our 3 Charlie Kirk Salem Radio Network. Breaking news just comes in. Ukraine has agreed to the mineral deal with the United States. We're seeing this according to the Financial Times. And I want to double check here because I saw some, and seeing some reporting, and it looks as though Zelensky is actually, it's going to be asking or potentially holding out, they say holding out the prospect. So Zelensky wants to come to the United States in the coming weeks for a signing ceremony with President Trump. I haven't had a lot of time to look over the term sheet on this, although I have to say it looks remarkably similar to the term sheet that we saw in Ukraine when I was there with Secretary Bessent 2 weeks ago to really kick this all off. And we're going to be talking about that in a little bit here, but I just wanted to give you that breaking news at the top of the entire thing. So interestingly, I bring that up because when I went on the Ukraine trip and took the overnight train to Kiev, and we've got the special up, and I encourage everyone to go check that out. Go to your podcast app, Human Events Daily. You'll find that there, the night train to Kiev. That when I was there, when I was recording, what people don't know is that I actually had to take some communications security. I did a little ComSec. And in doing communication security, because you need to be thinking about your ComSec at all times, not just when you're in the military, but from a personal background, you need to be thinking about this, especially if you're going into a place like that where, like, look, it's Ukraine. You know, there's going to be Ukrainian intelligence services, Russian intelligence services, probably Chinese, Iran, everything else. Everybody's looking at signals that are going through there. So how do you protect yourself? What did I do? I brought my Faraday bag from the great folks over at Silent. And in fact, we have the founder of Silent here joining us right now. It's Aaron Czar. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, how's it going? Love that you're traveling with the bag. Wish I had a picture of it.
Going great. Yeah, we've got it up at, well, people can check it out at slnt.com/POSO. It's slnt.com/POSO. You can see it there, of course. Some of the photos that we were able to get out. Yep, there it is. There's the bag. They're really stylish too. These things are really stylish. You know, it's really something where people you don't even know that it's, a Faraday bag. It's not some, tinfoil thing or anything like that. They're really cool. Is it leather? It's like synthetic leather.
We use a coated nylon, so waterproof.
Coated nylon.
Materials.
Okay. It feels like leather to me. I'm carrying it around. It looks really nice. And, I really enjoyed having it. And all I can say is, I've been back from Ukraine for 2 weeks. And I haven't noticed any differences with my software or my phone or anything like that. Because look, now I assume that most people listening right now aren't going to be doing things like that when they go and use their phones. But there's lots of times when people could use something like this. Isn't that right?
Yeah, 100%. What you've described is a use case where you get outside your bubble, you're going somewhere where you're on different territory, different soil, and you have more likelihood of being compromised. But that's also happening every day in the US, if not worse, by corporations and our own government. So taking the means into your own hands and having a really sleek product that allows you at any point to be able to drop your phone inside or your tablet or whatever it may be and fully disconnect, there's beauty in that. And, what's happening in the world and you're seeing it. It's just like having sleek, beautiful products that naturally fit into your life, but they have unique value to them. So you could take back your privacy, as it says right there, is imperative. But yeah, we make a lot of different products. I think you're rocking the Essentials backpack or the E3 backpack. I kind of forget, but yeah, all of our products serve such great use case for all walks of life.
Yeah, no, that was the backpack. Now, so as great as they are, one of the things that, I thought that people understand their phones. People say, okay, I get it. My phone's sending out data all the time. Even when you and people don't realize this, when you put that airplane mode on, you're still connected. You're still sending signal. People can still collect on you. In the IC, we'd say we're collecting on you. So we're always collecting something. So whether it be corporations, whether it be governments, whatever it is, but it's not just your phones, is it? And I remember the last time you came on, the one that it just blew my mind when you brought it up, the fact that your car, actually those key fobs, which are so ubiquitous now, we all use them for our cars. Obviously, most people use them for, I have our one car, Tanya's car. It's a little bit newer than my car, but she uses she has the starter, right? So she has the auto starter with the key fob. And those things can actually be cloned if you copy down or you're able to copy the radio signal. And this is something that can protect against that.
Yeah, that's such an easy pain point to talk about. And we do have those products, and it highlights a instantaneous use case where you could protect a very valuable asset and avoid relay attacks. But when you think about car keys, great, they're inexpensive products. They work really well. If that's a starting point for you, fine. But I would highly suggest getting the privacy starter kit, because you need to really think about your phone and what your phone is doing, because it's way beyond car theft and the theft that's happening to your data and what data brokers are able to do and how they're able to recognize patterns of life and make anyone a target. And it's just really creepy out there. So that goes to your laptop as well. And we're heavily promoting our backpacks because they bring so much value. If you look at everything in the marketplace today, you could get a sleek backpack, all different shapes and sizes. But when you get one of ours, we use 100% recycled materials on the outside, coated zippers. They're semi-waterproof. Some we have fully waterproof and submersible backpacks. But on the inside, we have patented shielded technology. So you put your device in any of those locations and you're blocking cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and EMP. And the benefits that the user feels is not only peace of mind, but empowerment around having actual control and having an ability to remain with some autonomy in this world that is just overreaching technology. So the bags you have up right there are a prime example of some of the cross section. We make a ton of products in the USA as well. serve a lot of different use cases, including, U.S. Special Forces, and we're very proud of that. And but all the bags are available to regular folks as well. And if you're questioning if you need this, 100% you do. The alternative is airplane mode is like lipstick on a pig. I've said that before, I think, on your show. It's a step in the right direction, but you're really not limiting anything by adjusting the software. You have to physically shut down these devices. Otherwise, they're consistently pinging and harvesting you left and right. So it's time. It's been time for a long time. And I just, kind of repeat the same things over and over because the news cycle and everything going on in the world validates what Silent is and what we stand for.
Look, it's something where I think a lot of people know that your phone is always listening. I remember I used to do this kind of gimmick on social media where I would say, hey, I'm just going to talk about a certain product around my phone, but something that I know that we don't purchase, and wait to see how long for me to get served ads for that. And I find that Instagram works the fastest with this. So we did this thing, and over the course of 24 hours, I just would go around my phone when it wasn't on, and I would, it was locked. It was just sitting there, and I would talk about this certain product, and I would walk around and I would just be like, cat food, Friskies. And we don't have a cat in my house. We do not have a cat. I would talk about Friskies. I would say, oh, Friskies cat food. I wish we had some Friskies cat food. So I've never searched for it. I've never, looked it up. I've never done anything like that anywhere else. And then sure enough, within 24 hours, boom, I'm starting to get hit with ads for it on Instagram. It's scary, but guess what, folks? Your stuff is listening to you because, Aaron, this is how these people make their money, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, selling your data, like, we are the product. Like, what do you use that costs money? Very few things. If it's just like general software or services like Gmail or Instagram or any social media, it doesn't cost anything. Ask yourself why, because you are the product. You're being harvested, and the data that should be yours is not in your control, and it's sold to third parties. And it could be put in the hands of bad actors. It could be used for nefarious reasons. It could be used to compromise a lot of different aspects of your life, from your personal, digital privacy to physical privacy, physical security, and the well-being of your family or your business, or what you do as a profession. It's endless use cases where Faraday sleeves and Faraday cage products really lend a ton of value. And with the amount of cell phones on the world, there's more cell phones and smartphones in the world than there are humans. We need to do something about it. We can't throw them away. They become way too convenient. But we have to strike a balance and mitigate some of the threats that everyone's facing every day. And these are tools, and Silent makes these tools that look good and that they work, more importantly.
That's right. And look, as things remain, we just had our last guest on. He was talking about how look, the Trump reforms are coming, but some of the price pain has been taken out. Others are going to take a little bit longer to come through. So with things the way they are, it is going to cost you so much money if your stuff gets hacked. It is going to cost you so much money and time that you're going to lose. For me, I lose time, I lose money, and I lose time, and I'm just like, I'm in a bad mood the rest of the day. I'm so upset about this, and it's not to mention the emotion when you're dealing with somebody, some hacker getting in, and I get about 15,000 emails a day from somebody trying to hack my X account. It's actually gotten worse. So folks think, okay, I don't need to do this. It won't happen to me. Yeah, you think about it. Until you realize that until it happens to you, until you've gone through it and you can't get control of your devices back, you can't get control of your accounts back, and suddenly all this stuff is gone because they have device control. That's why if you just make a basic investment in your personal data security with Silent, you can do this. It's slnt.com/POSO, slnt.com/POSO. Aaron, tell everybody 1 minute left. Why should they go and check out these products?
I think a fun way that I think about it, when I was 16, I became a California state lifeguard, and a teenager is responsible for the safety of the public. And one of the things that they ingrained in us, and I had sleepless nights about this, was being preventative. You could either let someone swim out in the ocean, get caught in a rip current and drowned, or be put in a bad situation, or you could preventatively educate and warn them from entering danger. It's the same thing that's applying today. You could let yourself get sucked into the ocean, into a rip current, and drown with like financial trouble and lack of privacy and security, and have real pain and have to fight your way out of that a day, months, a year.
Or you can be ready beforehand,
and you can, like,
take
do
that
something
proactive
about it.
step with Silent. SLNT.com/Poso. Appreciate it, Aaron. Aaron Czar from Silent. Right back. Jack Posobiec, RAV, Salem Radio Network.
Is a great guy. He's written a fantastic book. Everybody's talking about it. Go get it. And he's been my friend right from the beginning of this whole beautiful event. And we're going to turn it around and make our country great again. Amen.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we're back here, Human Events Daily. We've got a huge show going on. I mean, you look at what everything's happening. These people, they're dropping like flies on mainstream media. They're dropping like flies. Joy Reid, I'm going to miss her so much. Just the nonsense. We got to do something. Guys, I'm thinking we got to do something for Joy Reid. I'm thinking, no, look, Joy Reid helped to launch my career by putting me on her show back in 2016. Can't believe we haven't dug that clip up. You know, we talk about it all the time. We haven't dug the clip up. But I think, telling you, she helped to launch my show, and now she needs a helping hand. Perhaps we're in a position to do so. So I want to check the chat right now. And we're looking at this, guys. What's something that we could do, something wholesome, something good for Joy Reid. I don't know. I'm going to be thinking about this one. Joy Reid. What can we do for her after MSNBC kicked her to the curb unceremoniously? Tisk tisk.
When I'm working long hours, I'm always listening to Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we're back live here. Human Events Daily. Joy Reid. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I want to welcome in Hour 3 of the Salem Radio Network with Charlie Kirk, and she was so verklempt the other night there, crying on cue, telling all of her followers that she'd been kicked to the curb by MSNBC. She'd been unceremoniously left jobless after nature had already left her hairless. And you know, when I see folks like this and I think, Joy, you were there for me in 2016 when nobody knew who I was. Long before I even had what, like 10,000 followers. You put me on your show, Joy. You did. You certainly did. Well, first of all, we're going to buy you some 9-volt batteries and make sure you've got plenty of those stocked up around the house. I know you have some issues with that smoke detector. We're going to do that. But even more importantly and more to the point, folks, I'm going to offer you a job here, Joy. I am going to offer you employment, gainful employment, because we know through work comes dignity. Yes, we are going to offer you, Joy Reid, a role here on Human Events Daily as a junior producer. That's right, Joy. You're going to be the one. Now, look, you're going to have to start at the bottom up because this is new media. This isn't corporate media, okay? We don't just hand out things like Harvard hands out their DEI degrees. No. No, you got to work. You're going to have to work. That means you're showing up on time. That means that you're cutting clips for us. You're scouring X and Twitter. You're looking for things. Someone in the Lanner 9 in the chat says, learn to code. Hilarious. And you're going to be scanning X, looking for stuff that's trending, Joy. You're going to be going out and Joy, you're going to be making our blackout coffee. That's right. You're going to be making the blackout coffee. Someone's got to make a pot of it every day. That is going to be you, Joy. You're going to be putting it together every single day for myself, for the rest of the crew, all the folk, producer Foz, producer Russ, everyone out there. Someone is saying that someone says that we can get a Mrs. Potato Head with different wigs, and that way she'll always be on TV with me. Maybe, but no. I know I'm going to miss her, but I'm going to miss her so much, and she's got the free time, and she's right. I think she's here in D.C., right? Is she in the D.C. area? Double check that. Well, if she's not, we welcome you to the D.C. area, Joy. You're going to be our new junior producer. Junior Joy, we're going to call you Junior Joy. Come on, Junior Joy. The coffee's not ready yet. Junior Joy, we need those clips. Junior Joy, the cold open isn't right yet. Junior Joy, if I ask for a certain clip to be in the cold open, Junior Joy, it's going to need to be in there. There's going to be trouble. There's going to be absolute trouble. And Junior Joy, I'm going to tell you right now, you do not get to do any bookings. There's no booking. You have that dollar store Don King looking guy. I'm sorry. He's not welcome. Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow, who I'm fairly certain are the same person. I'm sorry, not welcome. Too many white faces as it is. Too many white faces on MSNBCs. I don't know why Rachel Maddow just doesn't quit. But no, Junior Joy, we're going to need some assistance. We're going to need some assistance from you. And not just from your wigs, because I miss Junior Joy. And she's going to earn her way back up to the microphone. I know she will. Because we're going to go through, and you know something else, Joy? You know something else that's really nice? You're going to run the new Human Events Daily blog, because I know that you have such great experience with blogs in the past. And in fact, as it turns out, we actually have the FBI director, the current director, who used to come on the show when he was a contributor here at Real America's Voice. Why don't we have the FBI director come on and he can go into your investigation of those crazy Russian hackers that hacked into your blog, Joy Reid, and made them post all those crazy things that supposedly, weren't obviously said by you at all, Junior Joy. No, we're going to have the FBI director come in and explain exactly what happened, because we never quite got to the bottom. We never quite got to the bottom of what happened, but we're going to now, Junior Joy, because the case is on the loose. Joy Reid, Junior Joy, we're going to do a 1-minute segment, a weekly segment now on who was the real blogger of Joy Reid's personal blog, where she said those horrible, horrible things in the past. Junior Joy, you give me a call, send us an email, 1776@humanevents.com. I'll answer personally. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you have my permission to lay ashore. I want to thank the Real America's Voice audience, as well as the Salem Radio Network, Hour 3 of the Charlie Kirk Show.